Have you ever reached that point where your heart says, I can't do this anymore? Not with anger, not with tears, but with a deep, almost icy clarity? That moment when you realize your love has turned into self-destruction? That's what happens when the anxious partner finally snaps in a relationship with an avoidant. And trust me, it doesn't look like what most people think. Today, we're going to break down exactly what happens during this quiet, permanent shift. Why the anxious partner stops chasing, why the avoidant panics, and why once this moment comes, there's no going back. Explanation: the breaking point. In an anxious-avoidant relationship, the anxious partner often bends themselves until they're unrecognizable. They accept crumbs of affection while giving full meals of love. They excuse behavior they'd never tolerate from anyone else. They sacrifice their own peace because they believe, deep down, that their love can heal someone who runs from closeness. But here's the truth. Every human being has limits. For months, maybe years, the anxious partner endures the cycle. Pulled close when the avoidant is vulnerable, then pushed away the second things feel too intimate. Until one day, something shifts. It's not another tearful plea. It's not another emotional fight. It's a cold, crystal-clear moment of survival. The anxious partner finally realizes, my patience isn't helping them grow, it's being used against me. And with that, survival finally overrides attachment. Examples. What triggers the snap? This moment often comes after one last act of betrayal, disrespect, or abandonment that's just too big to ignore. Maybe the avoidant disappeared during a crisis. Maybe they showed up to something important, only to act detached and dismissive. Or maybe they made a huge decision that affected both partners, without even considering their feelings. Whatever the trigger, it lands like a lightning strike of truth. The anxious partner suddenly sees the relationship without the rose-colored glasses. They've been fighting for someone who won't fight for them, loving someone who can't love them back the way they need. And that illusion that love conquers all, it finally shatters. The quiet departure. Here's where things get interesting. When the anxious partner truly snaps, they don't storm out with ultimatums or dramatic threats. No tears, no desperate pleas. Instead, they simply stop playing the game. They stop explaining themselves. They stop analyzing every mixed signal. They stop overfunctioning as the relationship manager. The energy completely shifts from pursuit to indifference. At first, it's emotional withdrawal. Then it becomes practical. They start building a life outside the relationship, making plans without the avoidant, reconnecting with friends, pursuing new interests. It isn't loud, it isn't dramatic, it's calm, steady, final. And that quiet exit is what makes it permanent. The avoidants panic. Now. Here's where the tables turn. Avoidants build their sense of safety around the predictability of the chase. They pull away, and the anxious partner always comes running. They send mixed signals, and the anxious partner always decodes them. They give breadcrumbs, and the anxious partner always treats them like a feast. But when the anxious partner finally stops reacting, the avoidance world flips upside down. At first, they test it, withdrawing more, showing sudden interest, even creating drama just to see if the anxious will bite. But nothing works. And when those old tricks fail, panic sets in. The avoidant might suddenly show more attention, make grand gestures, even claim feelings they've never expressed before. But to the anxious partner who's already transformed, it's too little, too late. Because this time, the love doesn't feel real. It feels like strategy. The inner transformation. The most powerful part of this whole shift is what happens inside the anxious partner. Through pain, through exhaustion, through disappointment, they stumble into something psychologists call earned security. This is when someone learns to regulate their own emotions, to self-soothe instead of depending on another person's behavior, to make decisions based on logic and self-respect, not on fear of abandonment. They stop interpreting mixed signals as romance. They stop chasing distance. They stop believing that suffering is proof of love. And slowly but surely, they grow into someone who will never again accept the scraps they once begged for. That rewiring is why they don't go back. Even if they return physically for a while, The old version of themselves, the one who tolerated inconsistency, is gone forever. Why the door stays closed? From the outside, people often wonder, but what if the avoidant changes? Here's the reality. Unless the avoidant does deep, genuine work, they simply can't meet the new version of their partner. Because now the anxious partner has boundaries. They won't overgive without reciprocation. They won't shrink themselves to keep the peace. And they won't mistake chaos for passion. The avoidant is forced to face a choice they've always avoided: evolve, or lose someone for good. So when the anxious partner finally snaps, it's not rage, it's not revenge, it's quiet freedom. It's the moment they step out of a loop that's been draining their soul. It's the day they realize that real love doesn't demand endless sacrifice, and that their worth isn't tied to someone else's ability to show up. And that shift is permanent, because once you taste peace, you don't go back to chaos. If this resonated with you, if you've ever lived through that breaking point, drop a comment and share your experience. You never know who your story might help. And if you're ready to keep breaking free from toxic dynamics, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Because here on Escaping the Cycle of Narcissism, we're all about healing, clarity, and reclaiming your power.